As Christian men, we are called to surrender our lives to Jesus. To surrender to Jesus means to give in, not to give up. We are called to use our strengths, abilities, and opportunities to grow and prosper. We are called to strengthen ourselves, our families, and our communities. We are called to be disciplined, courageous, and honorable. This is Surrendered Strength. It's time to become aware. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Surrendered Strength Radio, where we are living to honor and glorify God and just teaching others to do the same. I'm your host, Nylan Lansing, and I'm glad to have you here before we dive into today's episode, which is actually the third phase of a course that's going to be coming out. And the goal with the course is to just help you become more disciplined in your life, in your faith, and ultimately go from living an uncontrolled life, living a life of what the world wants, chaos or chaotic life, and going to or transitioning to a life of discipline, which we are called to do. Jesus is the ultimate example of being disciplined, and he does this, and we are called to be disciplined in our own lives as well. So again, today is going to be the third phase, and they're not necessarily in order as I continue to tweak the course. They're not in order from how I presented them, but they'll be in order when the course comes out. Before we dive into today, I want to just encourage you, as always, depending on where you're listening or watching, like and subscribe, leave a review, rate the podcast, and share the podcast. We need more people living in a way that honors and glorifies God, and I can't do it on my own. I need, first and foremost, the help of Jesus, and secondly, your help. So please do all that. And again, just we need more people to live in a way that honors and glorifies God. And the only way we do that is to share the podcast, share the gospel, and do that through our actions and through our words when necessary. All right, let's dive into this third and final phase of becoming uncontrolled to becoming disciplined. And that is awareness. And when the course is presented, this will actually probably be the second phase, as I've, again, just restructured things. But awareness is a major component from becoming uncontrolled to disciplined. And we have to become aware of, not just ourselves, but aware of our world around us, and aware of the fact that there's two different forces trying to call us, trying to get our attention. The first is Jesus, and the second is the world. And they're two separate forces, if you will. And one is calling us to be disciplined. Jesus wants us to be disciplined. He wants us to live in a way that honors and glorifies God, as he showed us the example of how to do that. And then you have the world, and the world wants us to live in chaos. It wants us to be uncontrolled. It wants us to be running from one thing to the next. And we have to be aware of this. This is one of the biggest things from separating ourselves from the world and living in a way that honors God, that follows the commandments of God. We have to be able to separate ourselves from this world and identify what Jesus is calling us to do and what the world is calling us to do, and move in the direction that we are called and what is right and righteous, which is to follow Jesus, to give our lives to Jesus. So awareness is a major component of becoming disciplined. Without awareness, we can't move forward because we're going to be stuck where we are. I think the old saying is the first step to identifying a problem is admitting that there is a problem, becoming aware that there is a problem. Uh, so awareness is a huge part. As we dive into awareness, one thing that I'll talk about more in the course is understanding that awareness is not judging. A lot of people, myself included, can be extremely critical of ourselves. I'm by far my toughest critic. When I do something, I beat myself up over it. When I do something right, or just it's something that I've done since I can remember. I've gotten better over the years of understanding that, just take it as a learning opportunity and move forward. But I still am, very critical of myself. But we need to be aware of, again, not just ourselves, but the world around us, and not in a judgmental way. There's a lot of times where I deal with a lot of different people that they have chosen a different life than me, and I understand they made that choice, whether they want to improve their life or not. Whether they may say they want to, but actions speak louder than words. Um, but to be a judge, and to be critical of someone who has chosen a different life, is it's no benefit to them if I'm critical of them and treat them differently. And it's the same way for ourselves. If we become extremely critical and really get down on ourselves, we're what we're not going to want to change. We're not going to want to become disciplined, because we're just going to want to basically hide. We want to hide. And again, that is the opposite of what Jesus is calling us to. He's not calling us to hide. He's calling us to be a light, and to be a light in darkness. And when we hide, we're not being a light. So we need to make sure that when we are, excuse me, when we are, diving into becoming aware of ourselves, our situation, the people around us, we don't want to be too critical. Now, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing to be critical at all. We have to, really focus on, what is beneficial, what's not. And I think I talked about that last week. We need to identify, what's adding value to us and what's not. So we have to have some critiquing, but we also have to first just be aware of the differences. Because if we're not aware of the differences, and identifying what is adding value, what is not adding value, how we're called to live through Jesus, and how the world wants us to live, if we're not aware of those separate things, then we can't start to identify which is going to be most beneficial to us. Not just to us, but to the people around us, and to our relationship with God and with Jesus. Um, and along the same lines of not being critical, I want to remind you that Jesus will meet you where you are. As a good father, a good coach, uh, anybody who understands that, anybody that has taught, or whether it's actual teaching or coaching, whatever, or as I said, in a father role. We meet people where they are. We don't ask them to go fix themselves and then we will help them. No, we meet people where they are, and Jesus meets us where we are. Jesus doesn't say, "Hey, go clean yourself first." No, he says, come to me, and I will clean you. I will make you new. I will cleanse you from whatever is ailing you. And we see this throughout the Gospels. Jesus heals sick. He heals people with demons, and he doesn't ask people to do anything before that other than come to him. There's times after he heals people, he'll say, go to the Pharisee or whoever, and give your sacrifice. But prior to, he doesn't say go clean yourself before you come to me. Jesus will meet you where you are, and he will transform your heart where you are when you give your life to him, and really surrender your life. And that's going to be a huge part of this process, is surrendering. There's a lot of times that we think progress in our faith is doing things, but realistically it's allowing God to do things in our life. And again, this is another area where I've struggled with in the past. I feel like, oh, I need to do this. Well, realistically, I need to pause, breathe, understand what God wants me to do, and go that route instead of trying to do all these things. Because again, that's just the world trying to cause chaos in my life, trying to distract me from God. And again, the world wants to distract us from God. Jesus wants us to focus on God. So we must be aware of those two separate things. I'm gonna stop there in terms of talking about awareness and just the importance of it. We're going to dive deeper into it in the course, and again, this is the third phase of the three phases as we go from being uncontrolled to discipline, being living in the chaos of this world to moving towards the calm. We can have calm, we can have peace, we can have joy in this world, but we have to move from living in the world to living for Jesus and with Jesus. So that's going to be all for today. Again, look, or just keep listening to the podcast, as I will announce when the course is ready over the next couple weeks, and you guys will have the first option or opportunity to get that, and really move your life and progress to a disciplined life in all areas of your life. And again, this is what we're called to do. We're called to live, to be disciplined, so that we can live in a way that honors and glorifies God. I encourage you to check out honorandglorify.com. Be sure to go to at surrender.strength on Instagram, Facebook. Check out the content that's getting posted there to just support you in your daily walk, your daily surrender. And again, I appreciate any likes, subscribes, reviews, ratings, and shares. You guys are definitely a catalyst to moving us forward and sharing the gospel, and sharing and getting more people to live in a way that honors and glorifies God. So thank you. I love you guys. And until next week, continue to honor and glorify God. Thanks for listening. Connect with me on Instagram and Facebook at Surrendered Strength. Be sure to subscribe, like, and share, and live the Surrendered Strength Code. Discipline, courage, honor.